my main health practitioner, I would say, would be Dr. Lee. If I have anything wrong, I'll come here first.
When my daughter was here, the first time she ever came, she told Dr. Lee and Sally, "Thank you for saving my mother."
I hurt my back in a training exercise, and I had never been to a chiropractor before. But one of the guys that I had served with and had studied with to become a Navy corpsman with said, "Hey, have you tried chiropractic? I know that the hospital here at the Navy hospital has got you scheduled for back surgery, and I know you're going to get a $400 check the rest of your life once a month for a back injury, and you're going to be a disabled veteran, and you're going to deal with the VA and blah, 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 blah." He said, "I don't mean to bust your bubble, but he says, I've got this friend of mine that goes to a chiropractor, and he said he might be able to help you. You want to give it a try?" So I did. This guy gave me a chiropractic adjustment, and the next day I felt so well that I went back to my master chief and said, "I think I'm well. I don't think I have a back problem anymore." He goes, "Well, let's do the obstacle course and prove it." And I did it, and he said, "You're right." So I never looked back. I didn't do the surgery, I didn't get a discharge, but I did make a turning point in my life. At that point, at that moment, I knew that I was going to go back to helping people, and I wanted to do what they did for me. I said, I'm going to teach people how to be healthy, and I'm going to look at alternatives that are out there. I knew in my heart of hearts, in my prayer time, that this was where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to do. Right. So it got me excited about it. But after 10 years of seeing sometimes 175 people a day, I was getting to the point of A, getting exhausted, and B, realizing that the same people I saw on Monday were the same people I was going to see on Wednesday, and I was probably going to see them again on Friday. And they were going to have the same subluxation patterns over and over and over again because I wasn't doing what D.D. Palmer said in his writings, the founder of chiropractic. He said, structure, chemistry, autosuggestion. And I said, wow, he's onto something here. 1/3 of my health must be about my structure. 1/3 is about my chemistry. 1/3 is about my emotions, but my subconscious emotions. And it matched pretty well with what I was studying, so it came to terms with what I do today.
What I love the most about this approach to healing is the truly holistic, comprehensive mind, body, spirit. Definitely believing you can't separate out one piece.
So now it's all about taking care of these people that come to see me are referred from other doctors and other physicians and people all around the country because they're frustrated and they're going, you know what, I went and got adjusted, or I took some nutrition, or I went to a counselor, but it didn't work. Because we put all three of those pieces together at once in one setting. If you work on all three at the same time, you get a balanced individual and you get health.
This isn't the kind of medical clinic where you come in and you say, give me this and fix it. It's a support to help you grow straight and strong.
Coming to a place like this for me wasn't as big a change, but it was like, where have you been? Because this is exactly in line with what my thinking is about and how I'd like to augment my traditional therapies.
Zyto was introduced to us at the NutriWest seminar. That's the first time I saw it. When I saw it, it was like a magnet. I was like, wow, I got to do that. Oftentimes, some of my patients here in Atlanta, the Georgia Tech engineer might be saying, oh, you're pushing harder. Or, do you have a meter to prove to me that you're not pushing harder, doing the muscle testing? So when I saw, the EAV style from the Zyto testing, it was just like, put your hand on the plate. I'm not even touching you. I'm not even talking to you, and it's telling you, it's reading your mail.
Even yesterday I had a session, and I'm like, oh my gosh. You start crying because you say, how does this machine know my inner heart?
From the very beginning, I saw it. And I credit that to the fact that the people that have gone before me, that I've studied from, etc., especially the German New Medicine, Dr. Hammer's work. And he's kind of focused me on the idea that each part of the body has a symbol and what those symbols mean emotionally. And that's how I can read a Zyto scan and the reports so easily now, because I've taken all these other people's educations, studied it, mastered it to the best of my ability, and then applied it to the patients in front of me. I like to go to this page most of the time. This page here, which is what I call the current events page. This is your current events. So in the current events, we've got this list of the major organ systems in the body. And as we talked about earlier today in your console, we talked about each one of your organ systems having a symbol, an emotional symbol, along with a physical symbol. Because we're made in God's image, and then there's a structural, a chemical, and an emotional event that goes with each part. Okay. So I'm going to skip to the chase and talk about the top three and then the bottom one, and give you a kind of story about what's happening. This is what your body's telling me that what's happening currently. Not long term, but currently this is what's happening. I was able to look at the scan and say, this makes sense. their ninth tooth is in trouble. The ninth tooth shares the nerve supply with the kidney. They're suffering from abandonment. They've got high blood pressure. They got cholesterol issues. I know all those pieces fit. Now, a lot of the Zyto practitioners that I've talked to don't do it that way because they haven't had the exposure perhaps that I've had with the German New Medicine and with other things along the way. But I encourage them all to do so because there's a wealth of information out there about how to take all these technologies and put them together and then to use your Zyto technology to a big wow.
To put your hand on a plate and for whatever reason it's able to encode and decipher information that is actually instructive, that helps. Every time that I do that with, in this case, Sally, who's wonderful, I come away with something new that I've learned and that I can apply that day.
And it was just, every time I put my hand on that little gadget, something comes up.
So many of my colleagues are so excited, and thank goodness they're so excited about functional medicine and blood testing and x-ray reports and all this other kind of stuff, which are valid, important information. But by themselves, they leave us empty.
Before we'd run to, this doctor, whether it's a cardiologist or a hematologist or neurologist, and yet they weren't communicating with each other. So it's been nice to find a place that deals with the whole body, as well as emotional, spiritual, psychological things.
I said, who needs a counselor? I got Dr. Lee. But I feel strengthened, and I know that I'm on the road to not just physical, health, but emotional health.
But just the environment itself was so encouraging and so supportive and so informative that to make little changes here and there were fantastic.
Sometimes doctors will bring their hard cases with them. The doctor will come from out of town and just say, I want to go see what Dr. Lee does because I've got a Zyto and I've got this and I've got that, but I've never put it together the way Dr. Lee does. So they'll come and spend 3 or 4 days with one of their worst case scenario patients and go, wow, okay, now I can do that. So we've added to a feather in our cap because now we've got a friend in Utah, or we've got a friend in California, or we've got a friend in New York. Somebody else can do what we do, and which is great because who can see everybody? Nobody.